At the opening round of the 2015 AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series, Adam McGill was ready to launch an upset special, as last year's title contenders Walker Fowler and Chris Boric were way back. But in the last turn, Fowler stole the lead and took the win. McGill wants revenge. It's Racer TV, and of course that means coverage of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. Jason Wygant here, your host. A venerable round of the series with the Maxxis General GNCC, and these are venerable GNCC conditions. It's muddy today, but anyone who's raced this series for a long time knows that mud is certainly no stranger, and these guys know how to handle it. Now, the 4x4s were just out there this morning, as you can see, in the amateur race. Now we're ready for the pros. Walker Fowler, who won the series opener, comes out first in opening ceremonies as your points leader. Adam McGill, so close, led just about every mile of the race in Florida before Fowler was able to get him at the end. So he wants to win today. Always has a good time as well. And then Chris Boric, your defending GNCC champ. Big surprise when he's switching over to a Yamaha this year. He's won all of his championships on Suzuki's. He was third at the opener. And we're ready to go racing. Ricky Towery, our head flagger, tells him to turn the engines off. We'll turn them on. We'll go racing at the Maxxis General GNCC. With the rain and the mud today, the start going to be more critical than ever. Braden Henthorn going to lead them into turn one. $250 from AMSOIL with their whole shot award. Boric next to last around turn one, so he's going to be eating mud all day. Henthorn, boy, that machine slowed down as soon as he hit that mud. It was like a wall, and you can see other riders. I believe that's Chris Bithell getting stuck, others running into trees. This is going to be treacherous. Riders in the back are just pulling tear-offs on their goggle lenses to try to get clear vision. That's a tough road to hoe. Oh man, Jared McClure, number 4 in the series last year, dead last. So they head into the woods. But up front, it's now Brian, the big bad wolf. And this guy has incredible speed. Now, we haven't seen it quite as much lately, but in gnarly conditions, Wolf just has something special. He just rolls. And he has already rolled away from this field. And as you'll see when we catch him again, his machine already much cleaner than everyone else. These guys are already covered, and this Georgia clay is exceptionally bad. As I say, it's slippery on the wheels and sticky on the plastic. And you can see this is a red machine, a Honda, that Wolf is riding. Everyone else, good luck figuring out the color. They're covered. So that's what everyone else is up against, as opposed to Wolf, who has clear vision up front. Not a good start for either Fowler or Boric, the two riders that battled down to the wire for last year's championship. There is Boric, pretty far back, I'd say about 10th or so, as Wolf continues to lead. I believe that's Bryson Neal to the number 2 spot. Nice job by the youngster. Henthorn's still there. Then it's Kevin Yoho. Bithell has made up ground after an early mistake, and I believe that was McGill who just came through. McGill, the one who led so much of our opener in Florida, only to end up finishing second. And Wolf still clean, still out front. Now, I say it every week on these shows, but it's so important I can't say it enough. These riders cannot practice on these courses. Plus, the course is going to change with the weather and other riders digging holes every lap. So they're really just guessing here on lap 1 where are the really deep spots. And the biggest advantage you can get is actually from these spectators, or as we like to call them, mud fleas. They're out here telling the riders where to go. But it's a bit of a trust game. Sometimes they want to see the riders get stuck because that's spectacular. So you never know who to trust. That's going to be a big factor out here today, as well as vision, as these guys are already covered. Now Wolf into a little bit more of a high ground. You see they're standing water, but it's not quite as dug in. It's not swing arm and axle deep ruts yet. And and everyone kind of trying to chill out through these muddy sections so they don't soak their hands and gloves. Very hard to ride a lap that way. We'll charge a little harder when the win is on the line on the last lap. And we got a change up. Adam McGill has taken the lead from Wolf. So McGill, we saw him at about 4th, has now gotten to the lead, and he is very dangerous when he has the early lead in these races. He has so much momentum, carries his speed so well, and it doesn't even matter. Like right here, they're on fresh trail. It's not even certain where to go. He seems to figure it out better than most. McGill going to try to make a breakaway. Wolf's one of the fastest guys in terms of flat-out sprint speed. He's not going to make it easy on him. You got Bithell and Yoho next. And then a gaggle of Yamaha riders. I think Neil's still in contention. Fowler and Boric a little further back. Our good buddy Johnny Gallagher is also in this mix. Gallagher's always good in the mud and always good here in Georgia. He's had a couple podiums before. That is Yoho in 4th behind Bithell. Then it's that Yamaha gang, like we said, coming through next. But right now, Adam McGill has the lead, and he's awfully good when he's got clean air out front. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Adam McGill and Brian Wolf battling it out for the lead at the Maxxis General GNCC. This is Racer TV on NBCSN. And they've broken away from everyone else. Neil still doing a good job, the young kid in 3rd. Yoho in 4th. And it's just a guessing game, the rest of the field. I think that might be Boric coming through in what would be 5th place. And you see how many lines there are out here in the woods. They're pretty open, and because this is springtime, early spring, you don't have all the leaves on the trees yet, so it's a little bit easier. There's not thick brush or anything to deal with, so that opens up more lines out in the woods. And Wolf doing a good job keeping McGill in check as they try to get away from everyone else. You see, if you get offline here, how deep it's going to be. You're going to get stuck, as these other riders from some of the amateur classes this afternoon demonstrate. And you've got to be smart in these conditions. There is a points battle, of course, a 13-round GNCC tour. Every race counts. You get your machine stuck and overheated or anything like that, it's going to make a big difference. So McGill is free. He's not getting roosted. He's not catching any mud from anybody. He can just go for it. Everyone else back there, they've got to kind of look before they leap. We mentioned how open these woods are and how many different lines you can take, but man, if one of them is a bottomless pit, your day is over. Still Wolf 2nd. There is Yoho in 3rd. And like I said, I think it's Boric up to 4th. The distinctive headlights of Jay Shadron coming through, and not a lot of movement, by the way, from Walker Fowler, who is 6th on lap 1 and is still 6th here on the 2nd lap. Boric, meanwhile, has gone from 10th to up inside that top 5. Now McGill beginning to get away. And as I said earlier, this is where he's so good. I always call it meant to do that. He hits stuff so hard with so much momentum, you think he's going to crash. And then he hits it and just absorbs it. It's like, no, I meant to go that fast. I meant to hit this obstacle like this. Really good at keeping the momentum up in the corners. See everybody else kind of a little bit choppier through here. This is Neil, who I believe is now 2nd. We haven't seen Wolf. But this is a good run for the kid. And that was a theme all last year. A lot of youngsters starting to make their presence known against the established riders who have won these things before. And Neil doing a good job today. Backed by Maxxis, and he runs his own team, B. Neil Motorsports. But it is the CST Lone Star tire blocks backed. McGill pumping his fist. He always does that. Always has a good time out there, even in serious combat like this. Neil is still 2nd and not even dealing with any pressure right now. Yoho on the BNR Yamaha comes through next. We wait for the rest of these riders to come through. I just saw Bithell on the Suzuki. It is almost impossible to tell who's who in these conditions. And that really tells the story. Look how clean McGill's machine is, relatively clean compared to everyone else. Trying to work the right side of this mud pit, stay out of the deep stuff if you at all can. He's led a lot of laps in GNCC racing before. McGill, he knows how to do it. Looks like Wolf fighting back now. And look, there's a mud flea. That's one of those GNCC fans. Well, one is totally covered and one is totally clean. How did that happen? I would trust the guy in the green shirt. You can see what color shirt he's in. He's clearly not standing in the bad stuff. The other guy, I don't know if I trust him. And again, that's a trust game out there in these woods. These fans telling the riders where to go. It's worked for Adam McGill so far, but I can tell you where he really wants to go. Victory lane. See if he can do it. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Digging deep here, literally, is Adam McGill. Took the lead toward the end of lap number 1, and here we are approaching lap 3, and he's got a sizable advantage over the rest of the field, about 30 seconds on everyone. Bryson Neal still solid back here in second. You're just waiting. Are the veterans going to catch him, or is he going to turn the trick on them today? Now, again, it's a guessing game with a lot of these riders, but I assume that's Boric has climbed his way up to third, so a good run for him. He's ahead of Yoho and Bithell. Still waiting on Walker Fowler to make an advance and at least try to fight for a podium. Or we could be looking at a significant shakeup today in the points. Now, normally you have to worry about those late race charges. That's where Chris Boric has made his money through the years, and Fowler has learned some lessons as well, but it's going to be tough for anyone to catch McGill in these conditions. We've seen it happen before. Could be setting up for a furious finish. That is Bithell now moving forward. Shadron, I think, here. You can always tell by the headlights. And that's slick stuff right there. First of all, that shiny dirt is like riding on ice. Then you have tree roots, which is like ice on ice, or maybe greased ice. So slippery through this section. Cannot really get aggressive. Can't make things happen in these conditions. Again, you go offline to try to make a pass. A lot of times you end up frame deep in the mud. Get on the gas too hard, just spin. Little bit of something that McGill can do there. He's able to get on the gas hard through a few of these corners. Riding through the pegs. Trying to keep his weight low, get as much traction on those rear wheels as possible. And you can tell the course has gotten a lot more chewed up than it was in the earlier laps. A lot rougher as they just keep digging down. Neal is still second. Everyone else you saw around McGill there in the previous shot were lap riders. Got to run a low RPM, a tall gear through these areas to get traction. I think that's Bithell in third, so a good run for him on the Suzuki. Oh, this section's so rough. But McGill meant to do that. Meant to do it. I thought he was offline on the inside, and then he just handles it. It's exactly where he wanted to go. So this is the standard that everyone has to meet. They've got to be able to get on McGill's pace. And again, he has been run down in the past, but I think today he's fired up after losing the lead late in Florida. He doesn't want that to happen again, and he's awfully good in these conditions and on this track. Everyone else still battling. Shout out to our man Johnny Gallagher, who actually helps us out on our live bike shows on the web, but still quite a racer himself in the pro class. He's up there in the top 5 now. Like I said, he's always good in these conditions and on this track, kind of like your leader, McGill. McGill is just walking away with it right now, and if it weren't for him getting run down in Florida, I think we'd assume this win. But you cannot assume anything in GNCC racing. We've already seen that. Neal still solid in second. Shadron making a run. and Bithell there as well. So between Neal and Shadron, you've got two of the kids knocking on the door. We'll be back with the conclusion of this, but let's show you the highlights from our bike racing. These guys had much better weather and track conditions on their race day, but bad news for everyone. Caleb Russell, your two-time and defending GNCC champ, FMF KTM, gets out front early. Now, Russell, normally not a great starter, but as you can tell from the number 1 plate, a great finisher. So you give him an early lead. The rest of these guys are in trouble. Challenge coming from Rockstar Husqvarna riders. Got Josh Strang and Thad Duvall. These guys know how to win races. They've got talent, and they want to beat Russell badly. They did everything they could to keep him in sight. But Russell, who won the opener in Florida, just too tough again today, making it look easy on the factory KTM 350. Caleb Russell going to win the Maxxis General GNCC for the two-wheel set. Here are your results, brought to you by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, Strang and Duvall, 2nd and 3rd. Jordan Ashburn on the NFAB Ampro Yamaha, 4th. Chris Bach on the Johnny Campbell Racing Honda rounds out the top 5. The rookie Grant Baylor, 6th. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. All right, we're on the last lap, and the kids are all right. Adam McGill leads, but two of the youngsters, Bryson Neal and Jay Shadron, are going for podiums. McGill has just been unstoppable today. One of the best runs we've seen from him in a long, long time. He's led a lot of races, but to dominate all the way to the end like this is impressive. Now it's all for points here at the end. Chris Boric is now out of this race with mechanical problems. Walker Fowler here is putting in a furious charge down the stretch and trying to get on the podium, score some points, and extend it over Boric. Woohoo! Yeah, he's going for it right now. There he is. That's Fowler just on the gas. We didn't see this aggression out of him. First 3 laps of the race, just mired in 6th place. Oh, now lap traffic just killing McGill, and this is why it's so hard to lead one of these things all day. But clearly he's avoided that type of problem enough where it's no issue, or hasn't been a big one, getting through this spectator section for the last time. And McGill, if Fowler can't get to the number 2 position, McGill is going to have sole possession of the points lead with this win. For the first time he's the points leader since 2008. That's when KTM actually had a factory ATV effort. And McGill was on that thing and was just killing people at the beginning of the year. Won this race at Georgia by a big, big margin. Now looking to do it on his own privateer Honda effort. Oh, nice job figuring out the line to cross that creek jump all the way to the left side there to avoid the big mud and water. When you're hot, you're hot. Here is Shadron. And looks like Fowler has caught him. This will be a battle for 3rd. Oh, Fowler doing everything he can to try to find the good lines. They're going to come back together here. Fowler's got the pass made. That's one of the unique things about this track. It's got one of the more open woods of any place we'll go to. A lot of different lines in there. And it worked out in the favor of Fowler, who's made the move, and that's so critical. With Chris Boric having some bad luck today, big championship points on the line, and Fowler can steal this podium. Meanwhile, you don't see Bryson Neal. He is all alone in 2nd, has run a brilliant race to hold that spot. Johnny Gallagher 6th, trying to battle it out with Chris Bithell for that final spot in the top 5. Actually, Gallagher now ahead of Bithell. So that's going to be a run down to the wire as well. As McGill, oh no, steam starting to come out. And in these mud races, you know you're going to pack the radiators. And that could be a huge, oh man, if this thing blows up right down to the line, and we've seen it happen here in Georgia to other riders before, happened to Fowler here a couple of years ago. Can he get it all the way to the end? And a lot of times the riders don't even know this. The smoke is coming out underneath them and behind them. Doesn't look like it's going to matter. He could practically push it to the line from here. And by the way, that's exactly what Fowler did here 3 years ago. Can he hang on? Adam McGill trying to not only win the race, but take the early season points lead. And he's going to do it. McGill takes the General. Woo! And that mud right there at the end, that was difficult all the way to the last turn. Bryson Neal, great job, is going to finish in second. Fowler just going to hold off the now smoking machine, not Rodder, of Shadron. Fowler getting close down here at the end. He runs out of time. Bryson Neal going to take second. Fowler and Shadron follow him across. Here are your Rocky Mountain ATV MC results. Bithell getting around McClure. And mechanical problems in the mud. That really hurts their defending champ Chris Borich, who did not finish this race. We're going to give you the race recap here, brought to you by our friends at AMSOIL. One of the young kids, Braden Henthorne, going to grab the whole shot, but it was another youngster, Bryson Neal, who really shocked the troops. He was up front early, battling with the veteran. Led it at 341 of Brian Wolf. A few positions further back, see third early was Adam McGill. He was able to take the lead from Wolf and did not look back from there. Is now the points leader in the series as well. Good job by Neal to hold off Fowler for a spot at the podium. In a mud race, it's never pretty, but I'm sure it feels just as good to Adam McGill. Thanks for watching.